this is Claudia here from the Bookkeeping Experts. I am back for more education on QuickBooks Online, helping you stay up to date with your books and knowing exactly where your point of reference is. Why is it important to know your point of reference? Because without that information, you can't take your company to the next level. You need to know where you are so you can plan where you want to go. So, without much further ado, today we're going to talk about duplication. Duplication due to integration with a third party app such as Shopify, Square, Method, or whatever integration you use in QuickBooks Online. So, how does integration work with QuickBooks Online? So, Honeybook and so on and so forth. So, each one will sometimes work a little different, but most of them are kind of the same, right? So first of all, to be able to access we're gonna go ahead and go straight to QuickBooks Online. Okay, there you go. To be able to access your apps it's gonna be on the left hand side of your books. Okay, there you go. Apps, find apps. And you can also click on my apps to find out what kind of apps is in here, but this is a simple account, so there's no apps in here. However, if you want to find the apps, it's right here, so you can integrate with your favorite Salesforce, Method, Shopify, Honeybook, Amazon, eBay, of course Square, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, Etsy. So each one of those apps will be developed by a different company. So if you are going into Salesforce, for instance, you can go into this one, and here is going to tell you what company is developing it. In this case, it's Intuit, means it's QuickBooks. Okay, it doesn't have a very good review here. Maybe it's a work in progress. The good thing about the Intuit app integration is that it's free, and we hope that if there is problems that they're going to fix it. Square is one that we use a lot. It's also developed by Intuit. There's other companies out there you can integrate with if you don't like the Intuit integration. I use it. There are some flaws, but it works pretty good, pretty decent. Amazon is also done by Intuit, same thing. And then, so we're going over a few. One is Shopify. Shopify is a popular one, also done by Intuit, and there are other companies out there. Shopify, I haven't talked too much about Shopify, but we actually use a lot of Shopify, and the integration is actually working pretty good. Now keep in mind that if you have cash transactions, it's not it's not gonna pass the cash transaction into QuickBooks Online. Other than that, things are pretty good. Etsy, okay. It says it's a 4.5, but I would not give a 4.5 because there are some problems with Etsy, and the biggest problem is because there's small 20 cents transactions. So sometimes if you have a lot of transactions, and then you're gonna reconcile your Etsy clearance account, it becomes a little out of control, right? So I like it. Okay, Method is good, but the Method is actually developed by Method. Okay, so this is not by QuickBooks, this Method, and it's working pretty good. There are some problems with taxes sometimes when integrating Method with QuickBooks. Sometimes there's some work to be done with Method, so you can fix your taxes. So, but most of all, those integration works pretty good, and the way it works is that it sends the information to QuickBooks. A lot of times, what it's gonna send is the sales receipt that goes into undeposited funds, and then records into the checking account as a deposit. That's one way to go. Now, some other companies such as Shopify and Etsy, it's gonna have a bank account, a clearance bank account for that app. So it's going to show as a bank account. It's going to call clearance Shopify clearance account. And once you integrate it, automatically creates that bank account, and all transactions go into that bank account as a sale, and then out of that bank account as a transfer into your checking account. So the sale is recorded on the clearance account. So it's very, very, very important to know. It is recorded as a in the clearance account, and then it's recorded as a transfer into your checking account. Now, the biggest problem about that we see is duplication, because if there is any difference, one thing that I notice is that transactions like finance transactions, if you use Shopify Finance, or your clients use Shopify Finance to purchase those your product, you are not going to see those transactions coming into QuickBooks. So you have to manually record them. So you have to log into Shopify and go into payouts and verify what was the transaction price minus the fees, and add the taxes as well. So you will need to be able to know that transaction sales tax, and what was the exact payout, because you will need to recreate the sales receipt. By the way, I have a video on that. You can take a look at how to recreate that sales receipt. So the workflow is that it sends a sales receipt into a clearance account. This is for Shopify, and then out of Shopify it will record a transfer into your checking account. Now, if there is any difference as far as number goes, for whatever reason, including system integration problems, it's not going to match. And if you're not matching those transactions, you're duplicating everything. Now, one thing that is extremely important, I always emphasize that, is that if you have integration, one thing you should never do is to create a rule for an income for those transactions that are being brought out by the integration. Because if you create a rule to enter those transactions as income, especially if you do an auto rule, your transactions will not have the opportunity to match to the transfers, and you're duplicating all your income. That happens so often. So that's one of the main problems, or challenge, I should say, that you may have when you have a integration. Now, like I said, this is for Shopify. It has a clearance account. For Square, it doesn't have a clearance account. It goes into undeposited funds. Undeposited funds will be deposits when you receive payments to an invoice, or when you receive payment and record a sales receipt. You should always send it to undeposited funds. And those transactions will be located under bank deposit, waiting for you to record the deposit. So plus new bank deposit, and they'll be sitting over there, right? So there's a couple of them over here on the simple account. And what we do is that once you deposit into the bank, if it is those two, you're gonna record the deposit here, and you're gonna select the date that you actually went to the bank to deposit. I suppose it was last month on the 8th, so one day later, and then we record into whatever checking account, whatever account that you deposit the money. So that's how it works. That's the workflow. So sales receipt or invoice, if it is invoice, the workflow is invoice your customer, and then if it goes through QuickBooks payment, it will automatically generate a sales receipt and a deposit, and you have to match it in QuickBooks. It will go straight, so it doesn't have a clearance account. If you go to Shopify, it's going to have a clearance account. Go into the clearance account and transfer into the checking as a transfer, not as a sale, because the sale is already recorded on the clearance account. If it is Square, it's going to be right over here. Shopify is right over here as well. So it's not connected, but the transactions would be here. You would accept those transactions, and match it in banking as a deposit, not as a transfer. Shopify transfer, Square is a deposit. Now, one thing that happens a lot with Square is sometimes is one problem that I see a lot is sometimes cash is bundled up with credit card deposit, and it doesn't match here. It doesn't match in the banking. So what you need to do is to find the transaction into the app transaction, and verify if there is a cash if there is a cash deposit, and then you would correct that into the bank deposit. So you go to the bank deposit, find that deposit, right? And let's suppose that this one doesn't belong. Let's suppose this was cash. It doesn't belong to the deposit because cash doesn't get deposited into the checking account. It will be directly paid to you, and maybe sometimes you will deposit, but it's not going to be deposited with the deposit coming from credit card. So you will need to take that off, and then save and close, and then match it in banking. So that's how you fix that. Now, to find out, I have actually a video on that. We'll go ahead and put a link on that video so you can watch it on how to locate or how to deal with those transactions, how to open up the details, see if there is cash or uncategorized income mixed up with credit card, and then how to undo it, and then accept it, go to deposit, and then remove that cash deposit, right? So that's a problem, a known problem with the integration that is designed by Intuit. So hopefully they are working on it. But we're very aware of that issue with the integration with Square. And sometimes the amount is going to be off by a few cents, and then a lot of times you're not going to find a match, and there's a Square transaction. You're just going to accept it, and the only problem is that when you accept it and there is an income transaction already recorded, once again you're duplicating that income. So you got to be very careful with that. Okay, so because with Square, you'll see after you enter the transaction into app transaction, you have to enter those transactions first. It's not going to automatically come here. So you would have to go to app transaction, accept those transactions, and then here you can match them. It's going to show up as a deposit, right? Just like that. If you have doubts or questions in regards to the deposit, you can actually click on the number 408 right on the deposit, and click on the hyperlink, the blue that says deposit, and that's going to open up the deposit. You can take a look and see what's included, if everything is correct, and then you can match it. Okay, so once again, very important to match the transactions that are coming through your third-party app, and that includes pretty much all of them. Amazon. So if it's coming through those Etsy is gonna work kind of like Shopify. So it's gonna have a clearance account. It's gonna go into the clearance account, and then go as a transfer to your checking account if you set up the checking account to be the account that you're depositing the money, right? All right, so hopefully this was useful. So this is kind of to give you a few ideas of the possible problems that you may have with duplication because of third-party integration. I have several videos on Square. I have videos on PayPal. I have video on Etsy, and each one, PayPal will work a little bit differently. It works more like a bank account, and you will see more like a bank account here that's called PayPal, and then you see transfer from that bank account into your checking account. So it works a little bit different because it's going to have, it doesn't have a clearance account here. Sometimes it does have a clearance account as well, but most of the time just have the checking account here, and that those transactions will be, if it is income transaction, it will be deposited into your checking and record as a transfer, and then match over here, and the income transaction will go into the PayPal checking account. So there's different things for each of those third-party apps, but they all kind of have a few things in common. I can't tell you which one is my favorite because there's no perfect integration. And I'm gonna get back here. Okay, so there is no perfect integration right now. So there's always something that you will need to do. Sometimes with Shopify, like I said, if you deal with cash transaction, Shopify will not bring those cash transactions, so you have to manually enter them into QuickBooks and record those cash transactions into your cash bank account. And then if you deposit in your checking account, you record as a transfer out of your cash account into your checking account. And we have videos about that as well. I'll put a few links for you. So if you have questions on Shopify or Square, have to still do a video, a more thorough video on Shopify. But Shopify, like I said, works very similar with Etsy, except it works better. Does have a clearance account. So Square, widely used. We have a few problems. We are really aware of them. Shopify does have a few problems as well. So the cash transactions, and also the fact that if your client purchased with finance option, those transactions are not coming through. So you will also need to enter them manually and match it in QuickBooks. So that the information in regards to that transaction, you should be able to find it in Shopify. And what you need to find out is that transaction detail, where it's going to have the sales tax, the base transaction, and record it as a sales receipt into undeposited funds, and record the deposit into your checking account. I have a video on that. I will put a link down below. And if you have any question and you want us to cover a specific subject, please write down below. If you like this video, subscribe to our channel. We love to help you out and help you understand QuickBooks and help you understand your integration with QuickBooks to see what is working, what is not working. Take some of the pain away, because I am able to work with that all day for a long time and find out a lot of the, workarounds and fixes and things like that. So we love to share this information with you. So that's why we come back every week to share that information. This way you don't have to go through, what I went through sometimes to find out that information. You will not find that information in any classroom, in any university, or any site, because this is the everyday. This is what's going on every day in your workday. So integrations that gives you a few challenges, and you need to learn what challenges those are so you can make it work for you. Is it important to integrate? I'll say yes, because if you can't integrate, even if you have to add a couple of transactions each month, it will save you so much time. And it's all about time, saving time, because time is money. And if you have more time to focus on your business, the more money you're going to make, and the more you're going to be able to grow. Now, if you need some assistance, one-on-one assistance, please feel free to contact. Our contact is down below. You can hire us to do a one-on-one Zoom meeting and walk you through what's going on specifically on your books, or if you need some catch-up or clean-up or ongoing bookkeeping so you can focus on your business, please contact us. Our contact is down below, and we would love to help you so you can focus better on what you do best, and we can focus on what we do best. So that's what we like to do, help our business friends succeed. um, Please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel. I'll be back next week, and happy 4th of September, Labor Day 4th. Okay, and I hope to see you again next week, and until next time, keep on smiling.
Mom.